Oh no, what's that?
It's Top 40 Radio.
Not the same 5 songs over and over again. Oh, the humanity.
Think about the children!
What are we gonna do?
Let's call 90.7 WCLH. They keep it locked.
How's it going, everybody? Nick James here for another rousing episode of Hollywood Hearsay. But we've got a big surprise. I have myself a guest. Not only just a guest, but a wonderful guest from the radio, from the real radio. You know, we're just playing a little bit of pretend right now in college, and we can take it as seriously as we want. But this is a person who is then paid to be on the radio. You might recognize him from Saturday nights, 9 o'clock, Alt Natives 921, Mr. Johnny Popko. Popko himself. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, really, it's an honor and a pleasure. I can't believe that you'd actually come in and do this with me. It's very nice. Thank you for your time today.
I'm very flattered, but I've only been doing this for about a year and a few months, so yeah.
It's still a year and a few months more than I have, sir, so I can really appreciate your experience and your talents that you have on it. I am actually a regular listener, not trying to sit here and brown nose it all, but I do enjoy tuning in and listening, and it's cool. My friend kind of is on the radio.
Yeah.
Because we do have a previous experience. We worked together for the Nepicine podcast.
Yep.
How long have you been doing that, by the way?
Since March of 2017, so about a year and a half now, I guess it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. I was telling people, this guy that I work with is coming in. They're like, oh, is he nice? And I was like, yeah, he's nice. Well, tell me more about him. And I was like, I don't really know that much about him, to be honest, because our job doesn't involve us talking. It involves me being very quiet and you to do a lot of talking and for me just to track it.
Yeah, but, I think you get a good idea of who I am from that Wednesday 1 hour, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on if we go too long.
Depending on who's talking, yeah. Depending on how many people are there to also drink the beers, I've noticed.
The beer is...
If the beer gets a flow and we'll go a little bit over.
Yeah, that could be a problem, but, we do what we have to do.
Oh, totally. So if you can, if you don't mind, sir, I would like a little bit even more history. We just talked about you on the radio Saturday night. How did that all come about?
Well, I've been in the media scene for almost 15 years now. I started out in 2004 as an intern for The Weekender, which is a local arts and entertainment magazine, newspaper. It's still around.
Not only that, but it's ranked us the best college radio station, 90.7 FM, 2018.
There you go. My name is on some of those somewhere around town. But so I started there as an intern in 2004, and a year later I was hired as the marketing and ad associate in 2005. And I just started really working with a lot of local bands and the media and bars and restaurants and local business owners. And so fast forward to today, we had a new program director start last May. And we were just casually talking about doing a local radio show. And I had said to him, because he's from Detroit and he had a local show out there. And he said he wanted to start one here. And I'm like, I've been saying that for the past 2 years. I would love to have a local show on our station. Not me doing it, but somebody who can speak. And he's like, well, why don't you do it? I'm like, dude, I can't even talk in normal life, let alone talk on the radio. So let's not get carried away. And he goes, no, you can do it. And it just all kind of happened from there.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a lot of things that we hear at school here, too, to kind of go out there expecting to get a title, but not expecting your job to always be in that title, and to be prepared to open your mouth and say, this might be cool. All right, you do it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great. So that's amazing how that happened.
Yeah, one thing I always say, I try not to say no to many things, just because you never know what that could lead into. So,
Yeah, and I think that this literal next hour coming up is proof of that, because I just got a job on Cole and working for them and met you, and now all of a sudden I'm here sitting down with somebody on the radio. Like, this would have never happened if I was just like, no. Exactly. And it actually came from a little bit of searching, too. Emily was a former student here, was the former alt director, and worked for Cole Creative as an intern. And we were sitting down talking for career fair, I believe it was the career fair. She's like, yeah, if you just ask, they'll let you do that. And that's literally all it took, was just like, hello, Holly, I would very much like to apply for this job. And weeks later, there it was. So sometimes just going out and opening your mouth and saying something is more than half the battle.
I think that's the biggest gripe that people have who are business owners and things like that, there's not enough people that have the ambition and the ability to just ask and say, hey, I'm willing to do this, or I want to do this. How can I help make that happen? And so for you to do that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the same thing kind of happened here. We're going to go into our second production of an audiobook.
Okay.
Like, that was something I was interested in before I came here, and now, like, somebody was just like, yeah, we're interested. Would anybody want to maybe... My hand shot right up, like, of course I want to do that. Now we're going to do our second one. And when I leave here, we're leaving, like, a legacy project because we do it all from Etruscan Press, which is right here on Wilkes. So they're just going to keep coming. They're not going to run out of books. We're not going to run out of radio stations. So this is something, when I come back from my homecoming, we're on our 15th book. I come back again. We're on our 30th book and so on and so forth. And again, it just came from... I'm going to open my mouth right now.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Really quick, again, just trying to get a little bit more history. In that fast forward time that you had, can you name some cool experiences that you had just working in the marketing and working there and different bands and things like that? Like, what stands out in your mind of being like, wow, that was freaking cool, man?
Oh, man, what is safe for radio?
As long as we're not obscene, we should be good.
No,
we're a college radio station.
I just have a lot of stories that are probably not safe, but... I mean, I just got to, before I started at the Weekender in this scene, I was not a very vocal person. I'm very shy. I'm still very shy, but that kind of catapulted me into just being thrown into, doing different things and being out in the bars and restaurants and with the business owners and with the bands especially. And I think one of some of the coolest stuff that we did at the Weekender in my early years, running bus trips with like bands like Panacea and Syphilis. We would run bus trips to we did CBGB's in New York before it closed.
That's awesome.
Which was an awesome experience, yeah. And people who attended the shows had a blast, and I had a blast. Probably too much fun, probably more than I should have, but that's beside the point. Those are the ones that stand out to me. I lived with some band members in my college years. That was a lot of fun. It was always a party, and always going out to shows. And, hosting Model of the Year parties, and those were always a blast. And, there's some strip club stories. We won't get into those, but I don't want to sound cocky, but I've been able to make a name for myself in the area, which I'm proud of.
Yeah, I mean, I could only hope to ever do the same, I think that it's awesome what you're doing and like how you're doing it, and it's on you, like you said, I want to start this show, or not even I want to start this show, but I think this would be a good idea, and they're like, all right, do it, and you're like, fine, I will. And if you listen, which I suggest everybody to, go ahead, and it's 92.1.
Yeah, Alt Natives on Alt 92.1 Saturday nights at 9 o'clock, and it just features an hour of all local music from artists right here in NEPA and in surrounding areas. I just played an artist from like Lancaster last week, but the core of it is artists from right here in NEPA.
And that's awesome, because one of the things, too, if you're just joining us, we have Mr. Johnny Popko on, and we work together for the Nepstein podcast with Rich Howells. One thing that you and Mr. Howells are always saying on the podcast, that guests are always saying on the podcast, that's always being said about this area is, there's nothing to do here. So for somebody to come out and make a show and be like, this is what there is to do here, listen to all this great music from around this area and know that they're here. Main point being, for me, Send Request.
Oh, yeah.
I fell in love with Send Request when you guys interviewed them. I have kept up with them. I have both their albums and their one single on a play track that is in my heavily used rotation is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And they're awesome, and they're really cool, and they're really local, and they're always doing stuff around here.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to get into that scene. Like, I don't know. I felt like when I was more in the scene when I was coming up in New Jersey, like, it wasn't ever, we may have looked intimidating, it may have looked like a crazy, chaotic thing, but we were always looking for more people. Mm-hmm. If you want to join the scene, just go ahead and do it. And like finding shows like yours and finding bands like in that wheelhouse is the first step. And then go ahead and just go see them.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them once, and I missed the show at the new bar that just opened in Scranton.
Stage West. Yeah.
Just missed it by like hours.
Yeah, I haven't got up there yet. It's hard for me to get out on the weekends and at night outside of my, the NEPA scene podcast and things like that with a 9-month-old. But I do my best. But yeah, I mean, the scene, it was really big in the early 2000s, and it kind of took a hit in the late 2000s, and I think it's coming back. There's a lot of new venues like Stage West, like the V Spot.
The Keys.
The Keys.
That's where I went for my first show to see Send Request, and we had Jen was actually my quote unquote first guest when we were doing it. So like I had known her, and like I have that experience tucked away, like must save. So after seeing her and like again coming full circle to actually go and see a band there, then like that was a really great spot.
Yeah.
If we had more spots like that from where I was from, like maybe it wouldn't have taken such a hard hit. And the fact that everybody's really open to be like, yeah, come play.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a little shameless plug.
Okay.
Sorry. This Friday, 7:30 p.m., I will be hanging out with Send Request. They're going to come to the studio, and I'm going to do an interview with them.
That's awesome.
So do you want to hear some crazy stuff with Send Request?
Yeah.
During the summer, I got in. It's so funny because your name, it's so weird. I got into Funko Pops. Are you into Funko Pops, Johnny Popko?
I actually just bought a few.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, and I'm not. I just started kind of because I have a son now, and whatever. But go ahead.
So on Facebook, you have Facebook Market, which is basically a giant garage sale for anybody in the area. You could set how far you're willing to travel, blah, blah, blah. And this guy had Power Ranger, the original Power Ranger Funko Pops. I was like, oh, I need that green and red Ranger. And he said, okay. He met me up at the Aldi. And in his car was a air freshener shaped like Wayne Campbell from Wayne's World.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's very unique. And we talked about it for maybe a minute. And it ended. I left. I had my Funko Pops. He had his $20. Why would we ever need to talk to each other ever again? We wouldn't. I meet Send Request. Meet them for a little bit. We talk. Okay, cool. I set up this interview. All of this happens, and now I have to go and cut a promo for them. So I have to get it off YouTube from Falling to Pieces was the song I used. Really good song. We'll play it on the show itself. But they're in a car with a freaking air freshener with a Wayne Campbell air freshener. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. So I go back into my Facebook messages and I scroll to try to find this kid who I bought the Funko Pops from months before. And it's John. It's the drummer.
No kidding.
I said it to him and he goes, dude, I sat at an Epicene sitting there the whole time going like, I know that guy in that room. Like, I know I've seen him before and he couldn't place me. And it went straight over my head. But it was all because of that air freshener.
Wow.
I bought Funko Pops off the drummer for Send Request before I even knew who Send Request was.
I didn't think that's where the story was going.
Oh, no? Where did you think?
I just thought, this is this random thing that, it all connected somehow, but not that way.
Not that close.
That's
like,
crazy.
what are the chances? What a tiny, teeny world that it is. And we should all be very aware of that. It's kind of scary, actually.
This is a strange area.
Yeah. Strange times.
Everyone knows each other, yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, once you, it's funny. I'll walk with some people from school who are locals, and I'll be like, hey, like every block they'll know somebody different. Mm-hmm. Of just like, yeah, well, my dad works here, and he knows the guy who works here who did some work on his thing over here. Like, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it's not good, but
I'm hoping it's good because do you know what I want? I want a motorized bicycle. Have you seen people driving those things around?
Yes, I saw one yesterday. Actually, I almost hit him.
Okay, I hopefully won't be that guy, but I want one of those so bad. It just seems like the perfect mode of transportation. Everything in this city. I live in Wyoming, so from Wyoming to Wilkes, one road.
Right.
One road, and if I take the back road, nobody's going to hit me.
Right.
I wouldn't do it at night because that's crazy talk,
scary,
but
yeah.
Just one road.
I always
Stop taking the bus at a nice day like this. Imagine riding in on a day like this, 8 a.m. on a motorized bicycle, just minding your own business.
Yeah. I always wanted a moped. I always got made fun of for it, but whatever.
Oh, I'd totally take a moped.
Yeah, but that wouldn't look good driving on 81 to Scranton every day. So
No, that one probably would not.
That's not safe, yeah.
We're going to take just a really short break. I got to do a line before that, and then I'm going to play a song, if that's all right with you,
man.
sir. When we come back, we will kind of step a little bit more into the Hollywood hearsay. I'll tell you guys some box office results, tell you guys what's going on Hollywood-wise, see Mr. Popko, what's his favorite movies. We'll see what he likes to watch on Netflix, even though I know one of the answers already. Hoping to have a big Joe Rogan conversation. That's all coming up for you on Hollywood Hearsay, 90.7 FM, WCLH. But before I go, let me get a liner out there. And once again, I'm going to shamelessly plug ourselves, WCLH. Do you want to be a WCLH DJ? You can email myself, which is nicholas.philippek@wilkes.edu, or our station manager, kristen.rock. We'll get you set up with an operations guide. You take a test. We sit in on some shows. And all of a sudden, you yourself could be sitting down with Johnny Popko interviewing. It's a beautiful thing, guys. Make sure to keep it locked. We're going to have, like I said, some send requests. I don't think I told you this, but since alt natives a little bit, your name, I've created the Popko Punk Rock Power Hour. Sweet. It's It's a lot of alliteration. So we're going to be listening to a lot of type of stuff like that, starting with send requests, because I promised it. So make sure to keep it locked right here on 90.7 FM, WCLH. Hopefully this starts now.
Pieces. I think there's nothing to believe in. I'm getting on with every sense I'm feeling, but I think I found a reason. So maybe I can stop staring at the ceiling. And with the changing of the season, I know eventually I'll start my healing. Excuses, abuses, they make me feel so useless. We've got a long way to go.
WCLH 90.7 FM. You're hanging out with Nick James and my special guest,
Popko.
Thank you very much from Alt Natives 92.1. Now, we've still got about 5 minutes and 28 seconds till the top of the hour, but I just like to get the weather out of the way. If you're a big fan of mine, which I doubt there are many, you'll know that I don't like to read the weather because I don't trust what it says, but we're going to do it anyway, all right? 79 degrees out right now. It doesn't look like the sun will be making an appearance today, but that's not bad. As long as there's no rain, I'm cool with that because starting tonight, that's when the rain's going to come. Tomorrow it's going to be all-day thunder showers, high of 75. On Friday, some sun with a high of 58. Saturday, some rain with a high of 53. Sunday, some partly cloudy with a high of 58. So we're getting a pretty chilly kind of weekend coming up. Next Monday, we'll have some rain with a high of 55. Tuesday, 53. And a week from today, cloudy with 56. But again, like, there's no way they can know what it's going to be like in 7 days. So don't take that as script. It's just a little bit of it's a guideline, you know, to kind of go off of. Before we get back into it, Mr. Popko, I just wanted to go over who made money. What's going on in the box office? Venom stayed. Venom made a bigger opening than I really thought it was going to. It made $80.3 million in its opening week. It's really great because Sony's going to take that and make more of them. Hopefully, They will listen to internal organizations about maybe where to pivot some of the things that people didn't have a great reaction to, but don't listen to the fans themselves because the fans don't know what they want. You made $80.3 million. Next time, let's go for 100. But let's make some changes. It broke a record for its Thursday preview opening. It made almost half of what it made in total on that night alone, on Thursday night, which is pretty impressive. I didn't think people went to the movies that much. You know, in town here, we only got the Wilkes-Barre one, or you got to go up to Music. I was in a 6:30 at Music, and there were empty seats. So somewhere people are going. I guess NEPA is not the best control to find who's going to the movies where. A Star is Born, opened on the same day, competed a little bit, made a total of $44.3 million. Not bad. Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga are going to get paid, but what else is new? Smallfoot is in its second week. It added on to its $42.3 million opening it now has made $42.3 million. It made $14.4, excuse me. Night School. Sir, are you a Kevin Hart fan?
Yes, I am actually.
Okay. Did you go see Night School, though?
I did not, no.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is because they're riding at a $12.5 million at a total of 47 in its second week. With the name Kevin Hart, I kind of thought that was going to shoot much further.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Because, I mean, yeah, he's put out comedy specials in movie theaters that have done better than a
Yeah.
movie. So that's kind of rough for him. And the last one we're going to be talking about today is The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Now, this I kind of want to see, but I think it's really going to confuse a lot of people. It's in its third week. It made $7.3 million with a $55 million total. But this Thursday, technically Friday, if you go to the preview, they have Goosebumps 2 coming out. This movie kind of looks like Goosebumps 1.5 because it stars Jack Black and a little kid, and it's a little comedy-driven, but, you know, kind of serious and wacky. So I kind of think people aren't going to go see Goosebumps 2 because they're like, wait, didn't we just see that? Wasn't it called Goosebumps 2, The House with a Clock in Its Walls? But we'll see. I mean, the first movie made money. This one's got the kid from It. Did you see It?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that for a little bit, man. How did you feel? Like, we're coming up, that's been out for a year now, and I could still watch that movie almost every day, and it's not old.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but I really enjoyed how they didn't stray too far from the original. They kind of just modernized it a little bit.
Now, were you a big fan of the Tim Curry one, of the quote-unquote classic TV saga one?
Yeah, that was when I was very young, and that was scary back then, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember I didn't see it until I was quote-unquote older. You know, I was going to say a man, but let's face it, I'm still a grown man child.
I watched it on VHS and actually had like the double movie. Yeah,
That's what I was going to bring up because I remember that at a Blockbuster and going, like, just seeing the cover alone with him and just in the corner. It didn't even have to be the full cover for it to scare me, just the corner of his face, just smiling. And I was like,
yeah.
And I only saw it right before the original came out.
Yeah. I mean, not to do a spoiler alert, but I would.
Oh, spoil everything. It's been a year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a year. But when they took Georgie down the storm drain and basically they tore off his arm. And there was blood everywhere. I mean, you didn't see that in the original. So for that to kind of like come to life more, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, and I like, too, that they're now going to split. I like the fact that it's still 2 parts, but they're not going to tell 2 stories at once. We told the young story. Let's tell the old story.
Yeah,
that was one of the harder parts of watching the docu-series as well. No, it's not a doc, but it was a TV miniseries. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry. Is the adults. Those kids in that movie, golden. The adults in that movie chewed the scenery to a point where it's like, they got paid for this? Somebody gave them a check for this? Like that one lady who plays the quote-unquote girl of the group is rough to watch in that original one, man. Like, you know, I understand Tim Curry. He's going to chew the scenery all he wants. He's a demonic clown. He's allowed to. She, at one point, though, gets so emotional, and it gets all the way up to this point where it's nails on a chalkboard, and you're like, who directed this? Like, somebody wasn't going to be like, hey, that was really great, but we're going to need you to do that again at, like, a human level, please. But speaking of this, and it's kind of a nice little segue into, too, are you a scary movie fan in general?
Yes.
Horror?
Yes.
So how do you feel about the new Halloween?
I love it. I mean,
You're going to go see it?
Yeah, if I can find a babysitter, yes, I will go see it.
I forgot about that for a second, sorry.
No, I would definitely go see it. I mean, I like all those cheesy horror movies. Like even like Halloween H2O, like terrible movie, but I'll still watch it.
On the flip side of the Michael Myers, then, if we go to Jason X,
Yeah.
the one where he's in space,
Yeah.
and it's really bad, but
Yeah.
that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
This I'm excited for because I don't know if you've done much reading on it, but the way that they're going to they started off and they're like, this isn't going to be a spinoff or anything. And then some new hands went in, some old hands left, and now it is technically a spinoff. Imagine Halloween happened and none of the subsequent ones. So there's been 11 Halloween movies. This counts as number 2.
Okay.
And I love that. I think that it would have, they had to keep the character alive for that long, but to take a character, make a movie, and then like 20 years later, let's come back to that and get Jamie Lee Curtis to do it again. And like, let's really make a quote unquote sequel with time in between, because in the movie world, you could say 6 months passed when really 10 years have passed in between or whatever. But I like that they're going to take the actual time between the movies and account for it as if watch the first movie and then imagine they went and lived their lives for X years and now they're back.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. That's going to open on the 19th.
Cool.
So that's coming out pretty soon. Just 9 days. If you're taking preview days, it's like a week.
Sounds good.
I would go see it.
Do you want to babysit for me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty good at keeping children alive.
Yeah, he's good. He crawls around the floor. He'll be fine just for an hour and a half or so.
Yeah, I could totally do that. My sister has a just about 3-year-old. He'll be 3 in January, and then just gave birth to little Luca only a few weeks ago. So I could keep a child alive for for an extended period of time.
That works. You're hired.
I think that's if I'm gonna make flyers for babysitting, that's it. Like not caring, nurturing. No, I'll keep that thing alive for a little bit.
Keep it real.
Keep it,
Yeah, people like. Yeah,
keep it real.
keep it real.
Top news-wise, so again, kind of staying all within a realm of scariness. Did you see The Nun? Are you keeping up with all of those different kind of? We're talking sequels, and there's 11 Jasons, but it seems like 11 Conjurings is just too damn much at this point. Like, let's pump the brakes on The Conjuring and who's the other one? The one that starred the Sinister. Mm-hmm. I feel like they just keep coming out with those too, and I'm like, can we relax? Like, I still haven't seen Paranormal Activity. They're another one. There's like how many of those now?
Those got bad though.
Those got real bad.
Yeah, the first one was cool. Second was okay, but like after that, just like you guys this is too much. Stop. But I did not see The Nun. I wanted to, but I did not.
That's another one. Even as a 28-year-old grown man walking past that poster to get to the bus stop, wouldn't look at it. There's something about a creepy nun that's just like, no, you don't mess with that, because I'm not really even religious to the point to say like an evil demon nun is sacrilege. It's not like it hits me on that post, but there is something about like it shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
Nun shouldn't be scary. That's just too much. But they made a lot of money, and it ended up being Warner Brothers' biggest hit of September. So good for them. So that's basically what I'm saying is like, if you didn't see The Nun, get ready for The Nun 2, because it's definitely coming with numbers like that coming into their playlist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think I could see it.
That's like, Sinister was a couple, Conjuring kind of kept going too far. Did you see Hereditary?
No.
No.
What's that?
It was weird.
Is that recent?
Within the past 3 or 4 months, yeah.
For a guy who does a movie show, I would have thought
Hereditary.
that.
Yeah, you should check that out.
I was a little late to the show this semester of getting my show started, but still, like, if it was only that, I will check that out.
Yeah,
Why not?
It's okay. It's people on the internet have been like going, nuts about it. But I thought it was a little weird, but that's just me.
Did you see Venom yet? I know it's not completely horror, but
I do want to see that.
it did make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of these action hero movies. Not that that's a hero movie by any means, but
They tried.
do they?
They didn't know what kind of movie they wanted to be honest.
Like the Superman from like 10 years ago. Like
The Brandon Routh one?
I don't even know who played it, but it was too like.
Was Kevin Spacey the bad guy? Was Kevin Spacey Lex Luthor?
Maybe I didn't even finish it. I turned it off.
Oh,
It
then
was
it had to
too
have been.
spacey and weird. I like the original, the Batman with Michael Keaton. Even
89.
Even Batman with
Val Kilmer.
no. Well, those are fine too. The newer with the
Christian Bale.
yes.
The Dark Knight trilogy is the
I
best.
like those. Like I didn't even get into Batman versus Superman because I thought it was too weird. Yeah, I don't know. They're just getting too nuts for me.
The market is saturated with superheroes,
Yeah.
and that's really what it is. And I think that was Venom's biggest downfall. Like, this movie would have been a 10 out of 10 years ago. The fact that we have so much to sit and compare it to, especially knowing that Venom is a Marvel Comics character playing ball at Sony's park when we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We, as fans, if I can speak for everybody for a moment, see it just a missed opportunity. no matter how good this Sony movie did, nobody was going to say, like, well, I don't think Marvel could have done a better job, because they could have.
You went way over my head.
Okay.
Knowing Sony and Marvel and all that kind of stuff.
Back in the 90s, Marvel was going to shut its doors. Marvel Comics did not have 2 pennies to rub together. So they ended up selling a lot of their comic book characters' rightness for movies off. So until very recently, whenever you saw the Deadpool movies, X-Men, or Fantastic Four, or Ghost Rider back in the day, those were all put out by Fox Studios. Sony got to keep, they got Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And then the Marvel Cinematic Universe happened with Iron Man and Hulk and all that. So now Sony has been making their own Spider-Man movies, and they're going to continue with that. But Fox just got bought by Disney, who owns Marvel. So Dark Phoenix is going to come out with the other kids from the other ones, but then they're going to reboot that. So Captain America and Scott Summers can hang out in the same universe. It's a big mumbo jumbo of lots of hands with lots of hands out for money, pretty much.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and kind of why we're in the superhero realm. Do you know Guardians? Were you a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Nope.
Weren't a fan or don't know it?
I mean, I heard of it. I didn't watch it.
Understood. Well, they made one, made a lot of money, make it a second one, and then the director James Gunn came under fire. Anything hitting bells?
Nope.
Yeah, he had some tweets on his Twitter account from 10 years ago. But as a 50-year-old man, he kept saying, like, oh, I've grown a lot since then. It's like, you've grown from a 40-year-old? You didn't know this was inappropriate then? That's beyond the point of, like, weird jokes, like, inappropriate, like, I don't understand, like, even the darkest sense of humor, why you would think, like, pedophilia or, different forcings or stuff like that. I don't want to get too into it because, again, I don't know legality of saying stuff like that on the radio.
Yeah.
But they fired him. And now DC came and picked up their leavings, and he's going to direct Suicide Squad, and people are thrilled because they felt it was falsely kind of brought upon him. And it's like, oh, yeah, somebody made him tweet those.
And
sorry, I went really deep with that.
It's a strange world.
Yeah. Speaking of strange world and strange time, our next topic of conversation you'll have a little bit better on. We're going to talk some Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
Because that you'll know. I feel like I've left you here a little bit. I'm being a bad host. I'm talking things, and you're like, I don't know what you're saying.
No, well, I mean, shame on me for not knowing, current events, but
no.
Joe Rogan, what's up?
Joe Rogan. We can definitely talk Joe Rogan. But we're going to do just a little bit more music first. Probably only another 3 songs, and then because we're only on here till 2:30, but just a few, and then we'll be right back. Sweet. Does that sound cool with you?
Sounds great.
Awesome. You're listening to 90.7 FM, WCLH, serving Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and Hazleton. Specifically right now, you're listening to Nick James for Hollywood Hearsay. Make sure to keep it locked because we have a lot more coming with Mr. Popko. 90.7 FM, WCLH, hanging out with Nick James and my special guest, Popko, from Alt Natives 92.1. We've been having a great time. We're going to be wrapping up in these next 11 minutes. But before we do that, just so I don't forget, sir, thank you. Really, truly, honestly, thank you so much for doing this, hanging out, being here, being awesome. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, because usually I'm the one doing the interviews, and so I don't get asked a lot to do this stuff. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, yeah, it is kind of a change of our normal relationship, because usually you're asking the questions and I'm listening to the people answer, and now I'm asking. That was funny too, setting this up like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And you're like, I don't know, like, what do you normally do? And like, oh yeah, okay, we could do that. Like, I was just so excited to have you on that I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. But again, thank you.
You're in charge.
That's so strange. That's what it is. Like, it's like, no, thank you. I don't know what to do with that.
You're doing great.
This
is a cool show, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I like I said, if you were listening this whole time, A, thank you. But B, it took me a little bit to set my priorities, and I had this internship, and it was taking a lot of time, and I didn't know what to do. And eventually I went, like, how can I not have a show right now? Like, that's what I want to do more than anything else, is to do this all the time. And, like, I have my hours set there, but I don't have a show. Like, something needs to change, and it changed that day. And this is now my second show. And, again, it's so good.
Awesome.
It's one of the most freeing experiences. I mean, I get that all the time when we set up for Club Day. Like, why would I want to join WCLH? Like, it's the most free way of self-expression that I think we have here. You know, the paper is great. I'm the managing editor for the Beacon, but there's still certain things that you can't write about, or certain things that you then have to go and write about. You know, if you're in news and news happens, that's your story, period. I don't care that you were working on something else. This is newsworthy now. If you're on the TV station, same kind of thing of like, we need to go through these motions. Like, I have my Knicks Nerd News, and that's kind of up to me. But when that gets done is up to another director. When I do this, I close that door, and it's Nick time. It's just all about what I feel like doing. It's one of the great things about college radio, because I'm sure you can attest to the fact that it's probably not that much like that in the corporate radio world.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have got into it earlier. You know?
Oh, yeah?
I got into the game pretty late, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
But does anybody really know what we're doing here?
No.
Not at all.
No.
That's got to be my favorite lesson from Joe Rogan, who we're going to spend a little bit of time on, but brought up a point like, we are spinning. We are a bunch of hairless apes spinning on a rock around a ball of fire, and nobody brings it up.
Yeah.
It's one of the craziest things. This has got to be one of the best times to be alive and to be witnessing what we are, where we are. And a lot of people, like we were saying earlier, like, there's nothing to do. And it's like, just watch the news. The news is entertainment all of itself, of like just the absolute craziness that's going on.
Watch Talkback 16. Countless.
That's my favorite thing about moving to Pennsylvania. Talkback 16.
It's like my favorite thing, but it's also like the saddest thing in the world. It's like, these people exist in the towns that I live in.
Yeah,
like,
they're close. They could be your neighbors.
Yeah, and like, I don't like the rain. Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I predicted or I forecasted. I didn't cause the rain. Because I said it's going to rain doesn't mean it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So good, though. You actually just saw Joe Rogan. You just saw Joe Rogan, didn't you?
I did. I saw him back in September in Philadelphia at the Tower. It was awesome.
How long have you been a fan?
Oh, not long enough. Maybe 2-3 years. I mean, I liked him when he was on Fear Factor, but it wasn't till, you know, he'll even tell you too. Like, back in the day, like, he was very kind of like just an angry person. So like, I felt like his early podcast and his comedy, even, it was just always just him like aggressively yelling. And I'm like, that's not for me. I don't want to be listening to some guy yelling all the time. And I don't know what changed. I just kind of, it was 2015 or 16. I sat down, I put one on, and I'm like, wow, like, this guy is not an idiot. Like, he's smart, you know. It's a good, and he has great guests. And he's the reason I kind of started doing the NEPA podcast with Rich. And you know, when they asked me to do the radio show, I kind of, you know, jumped into that quickly, just because, or with open arms rather, because he kind of was an inspiration to me.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I feel the same way too, because I think some of his greatest smarts, if you will, in that amazingly smart sentence, is the fact that he knows he's not always the smartest.
Yep.
And the fact that he'll sit there and go like, what do you think I'm doing right now, people? Like, do you see me doing anything that you can't be doing yourself right now? No, go start a podcast. Go do it. You can do it. I'm not doing anything super talented. Like, I've been doing this for 9 years, so I could talk and I could do it that well, but I had to start somewhere as well. Did you listen to the Nikki Glacier episode?
I did.
Amazing. Top 5 best episodes I've ever listened to was that one.
Yeah, you know, it's her and Whitney Cummings.
Sir, as if you read the freaking words right on the top of my forehead.
And we didn't even discuss that prior.
Yeah, no.
But in the same sense is awesome. So they're both awesome, but like, they're crazy. And they'll tell you they're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And if a girl tells you they're crazy, that's like crazy times 10. No offense to women out there. I love you all. But yeah, I mean, they'll tell you the same thing. But but it's also funny too. Like, he'll even say, like, no one that's doing anything cool had a normal life or a normal upbringing.
Yeah.
So here we are. I don't know your background, but like, I had it pretty easy. Both my parents were married. My dad unfortunately passed away in 2005. But I had everything I ever needed. You know, I went to school. They told me to get good grades. I did that. I followed all the rules. My life's boring. You know, so it takes special instances in people's lives to like be different, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, not to go too much into it. I've had some bumps, and I do think, you know, they were talking about it. I think she hit the nail on the head of just dying for somebody's approval. You know, I may have gotten it enough from other places, but there's something in my brain that's just like, tell me I'm good.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm good at this. Like, tell me you like to listen to me talk, because I like to do it regardless, so I'm going to do it regardless.
Yep.
And if I can get somebody's appreciation out of it, it's the highest high. You know, they talked about killing it and how to say a joke and make 300 people laugh and feel good, and that feeling that it gives you, like, I am now chasing that high. I've never thought about doing stand-up before until the Nikki Glacier episode of just like, well, why not? Especially, too, because sitting here and going full round circle of what we were talking about at the beginning, like, I have the means to it. I happen to know somebody who runs the Nepicene Rising Talent and could maybe get me sometime, could add anybody sometime doing it. You know, that's the point of that competition. Like, I'm not sitting here like, well, nobody around here would even give me a chance. Like, I've got another open doorway that, like, now I'm thinking, do it.
You definitely should.
Do it and bomb and be okay bombing and knowing, like, all right, well, at least you know now what it's like to bomb on a stage.
Yeah, but that makes you better.
That agreed. You know? It's gonna, it'll turn me like I'm pretty much made out of pudding, and it'll start to shape me into granite. Like, I've got tough skin, but
yeah, what's that saying? If you're not winning, you're learning, or something like that. You know.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
You don't. It's not winning and losing. It's winning and learning. So you're not a loser.
Yeah.
You just learn.
And even if, my father taught me this and it's golden, everybody's a teacher. Whether or not they're teaching you how you want to act, take it on the reverse and be like, all right, well, at least I know I won't be like that.
There you go.
So everybody could teach you something, whether or not you find it valuable in terms of, oh, wow, that was great, I'm going to do this. Like Joe Rogan, everything I do talking-wise is Joe Rogan and Kevin Smith in the back of my head. I think about how would they go about that, and they taught me how to do that. Meanwhile, Kevin Smith was on the Anna Faris podcast.
She's good, too.
Did you listen to that one?
No,
I don't know. Like, I won't ever turn her on again. She just talked over him the whole time.
No.
Like, I understand that Kevin, like, since I listened to him so much, he's got predetermined bits. He's got things that come up and that he'll talk about, and, like, this is the story. I'm sorry that it's 20 minutes, but don't ask me how I'm doing if you don't want to hear my heart attack story.
Right.
Because for him, that's a big part.
Sure.
So as he's trying to do this, she's literally talking over him. And it was just so rough to listen to. And then the way she formats it, too, was a very strange podcast of, like, let's take breaks to sell ads for, like, 10 minutes. Joe, that's what I love about Joe Rogan. Like, first 8 minutes up front. Like, let's get this done. At the end, I'll say maybe one more thank you, but...
I like his, too, because, like, he only promotes stuff that he believes in.
Yeah.
So I'll listen to him all the way through.
Yeah, I'll listen to every single one of them because, like, let's see what he's got.
Yeah.
I really want to try Blue Apron. It seems like a fabulous idea.
I started getting Blue Apron before I heard of him, or before he started promoting it, and I love it.
I will totally check that out.
Right.
That, and I want a Casper mattress, too.
Oh, Young Jamie uses that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my favorite, too. And I
Yeah,
like
he's
that
good.
we all know how to call him Young Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. Young Jamie.
Sir, our hour is already up. I can't believe how quick. I know. Wasn't that the fastest 60 minutes of your life?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm happy that you came. I would say let's do this again. This is my normal show time. If you have time and you want to come back, if you found this fun, the door is now always open to you. You let me know.
For sure. I would love to come back.
And before we get out of here completely, why don't you just go ahead and pimp your show out one more time if you want people to follow you? What do you want the people to know?
Well, there is a Facebook page. It's called Alt Natives on Alt 92.1. There's also an Instagram page by the same name. There's also on Twitter. You can find me on social media as well. Facebook.com/It's Popko. You can give me send me a friend request. I don't have one of those fan pages because I'm just not, I don't have that kind of ego. No one wants really to follow me. So yeah, if you want to be friends, we can do that. But Saturday nights at 9 o'clock on Alt 92.1, I play an hour of local music from NEPA. So yeah, if you want to check it out, that'd be awesome. And a lot of good music. And yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
You got it. This has been Nick James for Hollywood Hearsay. You can catch me back here Wednesdays from 1:30 to 3:30, but do not forget, this coming Friday, 10/12, October 12th at 7:30, 10/12, 7:30. Remember those numbers, because I'm going to have Send Request on. It's going to be awesome. We're going to hang out. I'm going to play a song now to end this out and let you know who Send Request is before you come back on the 12th at 7:30. Thank you so much for listening. You are listening to 90.7 FM, WCLH. You all have a good one.